Welcome back to the Lissen Up podcast. Today we're joined by Stefano. Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you.
So, for those of you who don't recognize him, we basically met not on Instagram for once, but we randomly met in King's Cross.
Street. Yeah.
In the streets, right? When I was doing street interview to people, and your like the interview or like street chat that we had, you and I, went viral because you literally arrive and say, "Well, Spotify, not a huge fan because I don't like the weapon industry." Yeah. And so when I talked to you, when you said that, I'm just like, woo! Like that became heavy very quickly, and I was just like, "What are we even talking about here?" But because, I don't know, you were so confident in the way you talked about it, because at first we thought we were going to cut that, right? Mm-hmm. I was just like, who is this lunatic? Like talking about weapons, we're here to talk about music, right? And we arrived and we heard about Helsing. That is actually like, so I explained to a lot of people, it's usually a military company working with AI. And indeed, there are some investments coming from the top management at Spotify. Which again, like we could debate on and off about this, but when you said that, I was just like, there is more than meet the eye, right? Again, like to never judge a book on the cover, to never judge someone, even if they say something that you've never heard before. And so I'm glad that I gave that many interactions that we had like the benefit of the doubt, because then after, first of all, you went viral. Then your friends stormed my account online. They're like, "That's Stefano." I'm like, I didn't even know his name. So like, okay. And then people started tagging you. And then we started talking, and here we are, summer in London.
Yeah.
Both interests.
And I think if we want to start from that, I think that there is a reason why you don't know about that, about the investment of Spotify, because there was a couple of years ago quite a big action. I was seeing posts everywhere speaking about this. It ended up in a couple of weeks, disappeared completely, And I think that this is in one way what is happening, not only to the music, but to the media, to all the media, because
we go conspiracy theory directly.
No, it's not a conspiracy theory. I mean, well, I remember when I was like 13 or 14, I was speaking about like Nestle selling, the powder milk in Africa and the things they did. And someone was calling me a conspiracy theory. Yeah. But it's not,
fair.
It's the pure reality. Sometimes I think that they invented something like the flat earthers just to joke on people that are trying to speak about.
So it's a derivative of conspiracy theory, like you create another conspiracy theory to
take a joke, to make a joke of it.
To be honest, with what we've seen, I think over the last like even 20 years, like everything is possible. So, but just to be sure that, because again, Spotify, like nothing against them personally, but this is like made by one of the founders, right? To stuff. So it's not Spotify themselves investing in it, right? But that's another discussion. But that's how we met, basically.
Yeah.
So now, can you like introduce yourself for everyone, like to know what you do, what's your relationship with music, how you entered the music world, and what's coming for you?
So I entered the music world when I was quite young, probably was 15 or 16, and I get passionate about hip hop. And Italy, and especially southern Italy, have a very different way of making hip hop. It's really based on a local thing. I mean, it was during 90s and early 2000. Now it became mainstream and commercial as the American hip hop or as the UK hip hop, But yeah, back in the days, used to have a more family thing. We used to do it between friends in the street without caring about releasing music or having entering discography and this kind of
the enjoyment
discussion.
was in the making.
In the making, yeah, absolutely. Is as a way of expression, not as a goal, to arrive at something. Then I discovered techno rave parties, and I'm always been very politic in music, you know, very, very, very political, because I think that is one of those things that put us together. And when we are together and we speak, we are making politics in one way, you know, is spreading. And I felt that the techno raving was the only real free system that I found in my life, you know. Creating a system that is outside of the system, in the middle of nowhere, where you have no security, you have no one asking for a ticket at the entrance. You know that you are going there because you are responsible for yourself and for the others and for the
like
space
a mini
that you're
form of
in.
anarchy.
Yes.
Not in the sense of like it's a mess, but in the sense of like
no,
you're
yeah,
self-responsible.
definitely. We can say that. It's just that I think anarchy, in its proper sense, is a bit more organized in one way. There is, I don't know, yeah, we can call it a little form of anarchy, but without the goal of anarchy, you know, because the goal of anarchy is to destroy the system to create a new system, okay, which is a system that is not based on outer control, but on the control of everyone. And
What I read about it is that you have different meanings of it. It's fun because we're not all in music, and I love it. It doesn't matter. We can just say what we want. You have anarchy as a political system that is basically like pure decentralization, right? Everyone is responsible for all this stuff.
Yeah.
And you have anarchy, the movement, which is let's basically destroy the existing system to build a new one, right?
Yeah.
I think it's two different things, because a lot of time when people say anarchist, it's like, well, you're never happy and you don't like the existing system, whether it's, I don't know, communism, capitalism, and so on. You just want a new one. And then you have people that just are curious and interested in what would that look like if you actually apply it. And so they try to actually apply it outside of societies already governed by existing political systems. And what you're saying is that when you go to a rave, to be honest, I have to concur. Like it actually looks like what an anarchy could look like.
Because you are applying that, but without the goal of applying that. You know, you just do that because you have no other way to basically free express yourself dancing, you know, because I come in a city like Naples, okay? We have no space. We are a lot of people in a really small space. So as soon as you switch on a speaker, someone is going to complain about that, you know?
Yeah.
So you have no way of purely express yourself in that way.
You go on top of the Vesuvio.
Exactly.
Right?
That's
At
where
some
we were
point,
going.
you're a bit bad faith here, because you could really take your speaker, Vesuvio, done.
This is what we were doing. This is what I'm talking about. You take your speakers, you go on the Vesuvio, and done.
Okay.
After many years of doing that, police arrive, seize our equipment, seize everything, but we are not doing, you know, anything bad. You know, they take, for example, the excuse of drugs. Go in any club in London, in any city of the world, you know, you're finding a security guy that if someone has drug, is taking the drug and is selling inside the club.
I don't know what you're talking
10
about.
minutes later. Yeah,
Never seen that in my life.
This is a very, very common
sarcasm. I'm French. It's a sarcasm. Yeah,
I
agree with you. You were super serious. Like, no, I get it. That's why I do this. I saw it.
No, definitely.
So your point is like, how do you find spaces where you have this freedom of expression? Just before we go, because it's correlated to what you do with your collective, right? But just before we go there, this freedom of expression, do you believe that it's not possible to have in another environment, for example, in a rave? Example, you just said before, we just dance for no other reason that we want to dance and we do what the fuck we want. My pushback would be if you go at Coachella or if you go at like some festivals. For example, there's a festival in Belgium just 2 weeks ago, right? Called Les Ardentes, okay?
Yeah.
Not my jam specifically, right? But the people over there didn't seem very constrained, right? Like the people, at least the fans, right? Yeah. They were literally doing a lot of things that I would not have considered as dance, right? So they were really in their world doing what they wanted. So for example, as a fan, I would argue that you have that freedom of expression. As an artist, so first of all, at the fan level, would you agree that it's still possible to do more or less what you want, like in a normal festival?
So we have to. I think we have to start from a deeper level. Than that.
I don't know if we have time, but yeah, okay, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, basically, yes, you can freely dance in a festival, and you can reach the same enjoyment, and you can do the same. The problem is on another side of the thing. To actually make a festival, you have to do an investment that most of the time is an important investment. To get back on that investment, you have to create a system. Now, an economical system. Sorry.
Yeah.
So people have to basically pay for that festival.
Yeah.
Now, I know there are many realities that I respect a lot that are able to create that and create an microeconomy within the festival, and so not become greedy at the level that you're not paying the artist to get money yourself.
Yeah.
And that's where it end up at the end. The question, the matter of like Coachella, Tomorrowland, or this huge festival, because they became. You're not gonna find an artist that doesn't have million views, on Spotify at this kind of festivals.
So these ones I don't know, but for example, like Les Ardentes with like 300,000 people, it was also packed with like big names, but you have smaller stages with a lot of people, and you have Glastonbury nearby, where like they literally give back a lot of the money they make.
Glastonbury is an amazing reality, for example.
Okay, so that works.
Yeah.
So the economical system around the festival is not a bad thing intrinsically.
No, exactly. Okay. Because if the person that is making the investment is running the money, is really cares about the art, the music, and the people that are around it.
Like Glasto?
Yeah, like Glasto. You can create a very good reality. The problem is that for one festival like that, there are other 10 that are just run. I don't know. I don't want to judge people. I don't care about that. But you can see in the environment when something is made barely for money, and when something is promoting
so you feel
real
like
arts.
So you feel like if it's not done with good intent, the economical reality of running a festival is impacting the experience that you would have. Thus, you're saying it's way better to try to do these experiences without any strings attached.
For example,
to the economical system.
A straightforward example is that, for example, during rave parties, even, and I mean big rave parties with 10,000 people, like you still have space to move. You still, you still have your space. In a festival pack of people, it can be the Tomorrowland, for example, when you are under the speakers, I mean, there are people fainting because,
I would argue it happens in both, though.
Sir?
Like on rave parties, you could have the same like crowded spaces that could happen. Specifically, the amount, for example, of like things that could happen regarding personal safety is a bit the same. But like to be honest, like this, I get your point. There is no. It's a fair point that you would, let's say, statistically have way more freedom organizing a rave than a festival. I'm trying to play the devil's advocate on everything. So, for example, on a festival, if a rave is organized so I come from the countryside, like a lot of my family is like agriculture and so on. Yeah. If you do a rave in the field of one of like a farmer that planned to actually plant crop there, like in like 6 months, that's a dick move, in my opinion, because you're not free. You're literally impacting someone else's freedom to actually do your stuff. If it's done though, and I've been to some events where people literally do this outside, and the people that own that, and you organize it for free, I kind of like it. But I see it as organizing a concert, and you just decide to make to give a free entrance, for example. My own girlfriend need to organize an exhibition, and it was for free because she wanted to explore like different angles and different music sounds from Iceland and discuss a bit about blockchain. And so we did something, and it was entirely for free. And so I agree that the freedom that you bake in an event where you don't have to make money is something to consider.
Yeah.
That's a fair point. So that's correlate. That's a segue to what you do. So
yes, because basically after many years of doing rave, and as I was saying, to do a proper rave, you had to fight. You know, it's not an easy thing. I mean, you have to take a space, build up infrastructure into that place. You know, because you have the sound system.
Yeah.
You have everyone needs to be responsible, so you cannot spread it too much, because if you arrive to people that are used to festival, for example, and so to go in a protected place, they are at risk, and they put everyone at risk because they have no self-conscience of the fact that there is no one else looking for them, you know. And this is the reason why, coming back to the festival thing, that's the difference in the spirit that you can have, you know, at the festival and at the rave. And I understand that festival can be like that, you know, you can go there, pay a ticket, be responsible for yourself and for others, you know, still with a security guy there, it doesn't change. It's just the spirit of going there to say, okay, this land is here, is owned by someone that is not doing anything with that. I'm not, you know, pissing off anyone because I'm distant kilometers from the first house. So let's take control of this space, because this is the space of the people, you know, and let's use that for the people, you know.
To
And
express yourself.
Yeah, and this can have many configurations. The most common one is the techno music and the techno rave, or the dub music and the dub rave, you know. But there are many forms of this.
Yeah,
there
Americana, rock bands.
indie rock bands. We have punk bands. You know, we have a lot of expression on that way.
So when you say we, what's the collectives that you're involved in? What do you guys
organize? We arrived in London. We started doing parties. I started doing parties as soon as I arrived in London. You know, I was so happy to see that was not only techno, you know, but there was a lot of different realities. After COVID, we realized that the situation changed a lot. After COVID and after Brexit. Brexit, because it slowed down the amount of people coming and going in London, which was a key element in the, you know, many kind of music and many different way of expression that you could find in London. And this slowdown did not disappear, of course, but slowed down a lot. The other thing that with the increasing of the rent prices, a lot of clubs shutting down, it became more difficult to hire spaces and
together physically
yeah
on the same space and experience music together.
Yeah, it became much more difficult. So we started just to gather together, and we created this it's called Ocean Project. It's a project where we are creating a gathering of artists managed by 5 of us. So we're
musicians, right? Like music artists.
Yeah.
Or you're also painters.
We are in contact with painters ourselves. We are music artists, sound engineers, and we have different kind of expression. For example, all the leaflets and all the communication that we do it ourselves. Okay. We try not to hire someone to do that external to the group. Of course, sometimes we ask to local artists, you know, can you do a flyer for us? And that's cool. But we try to express ourselves as much as we can in all the discipline that you can find in an event. We also like a lot like electronic music experimental performances with installation, projection mappings, and interactive elements during the performances.
So you have a performance, so it's mainly music, right? So you arrive, you can imagine this as a concert with several performers. I love like bringing back the business part of it. It's going to be great because like, so how do you find the spaces, first of all? Is it is it for free?
We try to always run it for free.
So if it's for free, where do you find the venues?
So the venues, the best party that we had in London, probably all the best parties were in squatted spaces. So
In a squat.
Empty buildings that we just took
Okay.
to make a party, made a party, and then left the building or leave it to someone that want to live there.
Yeah, like I mean, I saw a documentary about that, like about the massive, the amount of squats in Paris, London, everywhere in the world, and like people are being raving like from the 80s, and so
Yeah.
I think if you're the owner, you must be pretty pissed off. But if it's squatted, I wonder. So I'm for this, no comments. I'm like, okay. So you'd find the venues doing this. So it's like still illegal, but okay, you find a venue here. Why don't you find like other venues like that you could get for free? Because for example, you could have venues.
We
like,
did it.
Okay.
We did it and it went well. It's not a bad experience. It's just that you are tied down to some strict rules that sometimes are too strict, and some other time are just not in line with some kind of performance that you can get. For example, we do a lot of projection mapping, which is something that it has to be either in a very dark place or made overnight, because you can do it in sunlight.
So projection mapping, like you have a video projector and there's something on the wall.
Yeah,
right?
on the wall, or we build the structure, and installations to project on top of it. Most of the venue that you can find for free in London are gonna shut down at 1 o'clock at night. 90% of the people that come to our events like to stay awake Saturday night, So
they stay awake.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
And that's the thing. It's actually a big part of the thing.
No, it's a rave. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Me personally, I'm 33 years old now, and now I'm in a time of my life that I would do all my parties daytime, like midday to midnight. I much prefer that. But I realize that people needs to listen to hard music.
And live by night.
You need it.
So the venues, let's say, so you would have either collaborations with some space, most of the time, of course, like if possible. That makes sense. That's actually what every artist wants to have.
We also try to hire venue, and we did it in a way of kind of benefit. So hiring the venue, we want to do free parties. To do free parties, we need to gather money, because you need money to do free parties. So let's see if hiring a venue and putting a ticket at the entrance, if we can make money to then do.
That's where I was going. Like, so even if you organize all this, you still need to find a way to get money in, right? So either you put a fee at the entrance, either basically you sell stuff on the spot, right? So most of the time, booze or whatever, right? So do you guys do this, like an entrance fee or things to buy at the venue?
We try to avoid the entrance fee, and the reason why is because we like to create spaces where everyone is responsible for himself, and asking for a fee in one way is like giving the idea that that's a protected space, So
that you organize something.
Yeah, that I run the thing, so that's my place in that moment, and you're paying to get into my place. We want to arrive at the conception that if you are coming in your place, and you are responsible to be there, and for the other people that are there, That's the kind of mindset.
The whole point is like, being taken care of. You have to take care of yourself.
Exactly.
Even if, like, I guess that if you organize it, I guess that you mind if someone starts doing bullshit.
I mean, we have our internal service of security. We look around. I mean, we protect the space still. But if everyone does that, it becomes a beautiful society, even just for a night, But it becomes something good,
So that's for money-wise. So you try to remove the entrance fee, but of course there are other ways to make money.
We try to sell booze, or for example, skipping on totally another side, we have a SoundCloud account, so we try to sell our music and make revenues from SoundCloud. And on that side, for now, we are basically not paying SoundCloud because we can recover the money from Bandcamp and other platform.
Yeah.
And we try to do the same on the party side of it, you know. So
To break even.
to break even,
To
exactly.
basically, like,
And
if it costs me like 200 to hire the venue, I'm going to sell enough booze, for example, to make 200 of the benefit.
Sometimes we just ask for a donation at the entrance. You know, like we have a cost for transport. For if we are in the nature, we have petrol for the generator and this kind of stuff. We just explain and we just ask for a donation.
Got it.
And
then you let peer pressure. That's the job. Then you let peer pressure do the job.
Yeah, I mean, it's like. It's tough. It's not easy, you know, to do things this way. I mean,
of course. And so, if you at some point you don't do this in the prospect of making money. You do this in the prospect of being able to create this kind of self-sustainable, so barely breaking even, right? But like event network where you have this ability to express yourself as freely as you deem to, right?
Yeah.
How do you market that?
So that's the most tricky part for us because we are not really good we are really bad in social media marketing. On social media, me personally, I don't know where to start.
Well, on my channel, you went viral, so it's fine.
No, I mean, but for example, when I want to make a video or something, I always spend 2 days to make a video, 30 seconds, you know, and I always think, I could have used the preset. But I mean, there's no continuity on that side, okay? We are not able to post every day or every week, you know. When we do something, we just post it. We use more as an archive than as a spreading.
You don't broadcast like the events to be like. And so, how many people do you draw to your events in average?
It depends by the event. This is another part. We try to structure every event as a different thing because every place is different. Every venue where we go or squat that we go is a different place. And we try to shape the event around the place. For example, we did one party in a brewery where we could stay there on Sunday until 1 o'clock in the night. So during all the day we did the market. We invite all our artist friends, you know, that mix lino cut. There was someone that worked with leather and make harness and this kind of stuff. There was some other that
leather.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. There was some other that was selling vinyls. We did our little stall with all synthesizer and stuff that we wanted to get rid of.
And so, how many people came?
There we had around all the day probably 300 people, and in the meantime in the building probably 100, 150. There was a good turnover, you know.
But how did they hear about that event?
So some part of them was client of the brewery that was hosting us.
Okay.
Another part, we did some leaflets that we gave around. Surely we did some posts on Instagram as well, you know, and a lot of word of mouth. That's a really important part.
That's one of the things that it's a part of our thesis about how consumerism around creative arts is gonna evolve. I believe that we started roughly like 20 years ago, the concept of consumer and applications could be like digital or real life, right? And basically, if you were online, you were a huge nerd and no one wanted to talk to you. Then after you had the second phase, which started roughly like 7 years ago with Gen Z, where if you're not online, you're weird, you're the boomer. And it's basically it's an exclusive or. It's like either you're online or you're not. Either you're in real life or you're not. I believe that the third phase will be actually a mix, right? It will be, you might want to be online and you might want to be in real life, but there is no ostracism depending on what you want to do, the type of experience you want to do. So maybe you really enjoy spending like a week in a row watching Netflix shows by night, right? Or maybe you want to spend a week raving, right? And I think that a lot of the what happened with COVID and the boom of social media, right, actually influenced like a whole generation of like everything is online. Why would I go and meet physically other people? Or actually the way I used to do it, like if you're 33, right, same generation, like where you had no choice. So we kind of learned this. We were forced to learn to meet other people, and right, they were kind of forced to actually not have to meet physically other people. And so I feel like the next generation coming, or them realizing that we're actually going to mix both type of experiences, and it's going to be way better because now you're going to be able to know the pros and cons of different types of experiences, online or in real life.
Yeah.
Versus otherwise you had two generations that really were not aware. Our grandparents don't know what is an online experience, and they will not, right? So I feel like this is where we're going. Thus, you need to find a way to build tools to help people to meet either online or in real life. And like this, for example, collectives like yours could actually use these tools, because you'll be like, I don't know, it's a free event, but like either you get my leaflet or maybe you heard about it online, but you follow what I'm doing because you kind of like the fact that, I don't know, last time I did a YouTube live and you guys watched our rave and you guys really enjoyed it, even if you didn't come personally, but next time you might. Yeah. And so my point is reach, right? So the ability to talk to a lot of people that share your vision of what a party should be, for example, right? Or music they like. You should be able to actually have that audience with you. And the only way that people know at the minute is an email list. That's the only one-to-one relationship you can have with your fans or your people, basically. I think that the next consumer applications, like Lissen, the one we're building, is gonna enable that way more, because we literally let you be in touch with your people and your people be in touch with you. Thus, when you want to organize whatever event you're talking about, you can promote it online to your people. And then people start gravitating around you. So now you're doing leaflet, socials like Instagram, for example, and the venue where you hosted at. When is your next event, for example?
We didn't plan one yet. We are helping out with an event on Saturday. It's like a social community event in Wood Green. There will be some stall of Italian food, and we are just bringing the sound system and play chill music.
But like, okay, first of all, we're gonna release the podcast after Saturday, so that's a miss. I should have asked it before. Second, how do you know they come from the Italian food, or for the music, or for both?
No, at this stage they're coming for the Italian food, for sure.
Okay.
The music is gonna be just a side of it. You know? It's like, because this is the thing, we like to collaborate with different realities, you know. We're really open on that side. We like any kind of reality where people speak between each other, you know. This is what is
social experience.
Social experience in the real social sense, not social like social media. No? The proper social. And what we are understanding is that when we have a social cause, something that can put people together to achieve a goal that is a social goal, we have much more satisfaction by that, you know. When we are helping someone that can be the homeless friend that is having difficulties or whatever, you know, it's probably a good glue to gather people together, you know, and to do something together and to be socially together, you know, and to
in person. So it's important in person.
Yeah, absolutely, in person. Online, on the online side, I think what we miss in the online is the local online, okay? So something that can be worldwide, because the World Wide Web is worldwide, but doesn't involve the fact of having million clicks, but being more focused on the fact that people are real and you can build up real relationship, using the online tool.
How do you transition between these two realms, right? Online and real.
Yeah.
And physical. Fully aligned. I think this is where we should be going. Like the fact that you have that bridge that exists, and then as a consumer, as a listener, as anyone else, you will be able to decide where you want to go. For me, music is supposed to be a mind-expanding experience, right? And I'm realizing more and more that it is when you listen to it, but it could also be when you're making it. So, for example, just to challenge you, because me, for example, sometimes I'm not like an anarchist, a socialist, a capitalist, right? It's just like at the moment, I really like Kennedy, right? That was saying it's with democracy, right? Where we don't know a better system, right? For me, that's how I see capitalism, right? I don't see a better system out there. For example, I feel like in anarchy, like you could have pouches that would work. I don't see how it could work at the societal level, because you talk about being self-responsible. You have to meet my neighbors, right? It's so, I exaggerate a bit, right? But I just don't see on a like country level, for example. But that being said, do you believe that you would be able to create the same kind of event with that freedom of expression and experience that you're describing, right? So artists can play whatever they want, fans can do whatever they want, but to turn it into a business without losing the soul of it? Boom! Clip that. You know what I mean? It's like, without imagine it's your soul. You know what you want.
Definitely.
But at the end of the show, you made a benefit of £1,000.
Yes, it is possible. It is possible, and it is difficult. I think that there is a mechanism in the capitalist system that is the one of taking out the soul of things for the business. And we're seeing it, if we speak about music, we're seeing it with the hip hop, we're seeing it with the rock music. At the end of the day, what it became mainstream, all the things that took the shape, took the style, but removed the message from it, because many of the things that we hear today in the mainstream world are, totally, they lost the message, like the hip hop, the hip hop, the message of the street, the thing of being humble, coming from the street and doing it for the good of the street. We lost that part that was the base of the hip hop, and it evolved in something else. Okay, so I think that this mechanism is really present in our world.
The mechanism of, if you productionalize whatever type of endeavor you have, so to make it basically capital efficient, you lose the soul of it. Because, for example, what you just said, right? This is great. Controversy?
Yeah.
No, it's that my point is that I agree. It's always the same. It's like there is nothing black or white, right? You have like a lot of shades in between, right?
That's absolutely.
For example, the fact to say just like, it's fun because I'm going to look like a capitalistic fanboy. I'm not. My whole point is you cannot attribute all the bad things that humans would do to a system. We just use these systems, right? The whole point is that, for example, I know a lot of people, I grew up like countryside, like low income and so on. If I had to choose when I was in low income and when I was in a higher income, I would very likely choose the higher income because I kept my values in between. At the point that, so if I talk to someone else, like, oh, if you start making money, you lose your soul. I'm like, talk for yourself, right? I know my values. So the fact that to say, for example, money can pervert, right? But it depends on who, again, the sword, who is yielding it, right? And so I believe it's always about who manages it. The issue with money, of course, I agree with you, is that you start evolving in a world where you cannot live in a vacuum. Versus when you, like the concept of anarchy is like everyone is self-responsible. If you have money, it means that you have a mean to exchange value with someone else. I really like the art that you've made. I would like to have it for myself to listen to it tonight. If you don't have anything to eat, you will be very happy that someone is giving you like something that means value. Apart from money, we don't know anything else. Back in the days, it was I give you directly meat, right? Now it's called money, right? To basically be able to eat, and I will be super happy that I have music, right? So I'm trying to find a way to design a system, right? It's not to design, I'm not that pretentious, but like to find a good middle ground, for example, right? I'm very liberal in a lot of my views, but for example, again, I see capitalism as not that evil if we properly regulate it. For example, at the moment, you have a lot of evil in it just because it's not properly regulated. So because I'm trying to build, for example, a new platform, a new ecosystem, I'm like, how can we try to learn from the issues / mistakes / pitfalls that other platforms did because they didn't know what now we know thanks to them, right? To make it better. One of them, for example, being, I always use the expression of like, a gatekeeper is an intermediary that turned toxic, right? So if I own a flat and you come to make a party in my flat, right? I'm the gatekeeper, it's my flat, right? But we have a deal and you give me £10 to have the flat and it works really well. People arrive, they're very happy. And you know that you don't make, I know that you don't make money, right? Then you start becoming a bit too big. No, just big. And I become greedy. So now suddenly I want 20. And so now you cannot break even. Now you have to spend 10, right? That's the
that's the loophole. The problem
but this is human. It's not the system. It's like if I would stay.
That's different. I think that's a longer shot saying that is human because we don't know if he's human because we know ourselves as human in this society in this time and we can understand maybe something or what we read on the books about the past, but we don't know if we are like this as a human, you know. And for sure, the greediness is something that is really quick in happening, and I think that many people do not realize, you know, the compromise that they are doing, you know. I don't think people are bad, you know. I don't think that anyone wake up the morning and say, oh yeah, I want to make poor every artist that there is in the world, you know.
I don't think that's bad. I think people are selfish in your
are selfish, and for sure there are greedy people around. But I think that at the same time,
but again, imagine, if someone gives you the perfect, exact amount of money you would need to live every month, because now you have your day job, right?
Yeah.
Imagine that you don't have a day job, like a struggling artist that is a barista. So now, like you're a sound engineer, right? So you make a decent salary compared to a guy that is supposed to be a barista, right? Or like I used to work at McDonald's, right? So if you're a barista, and someone is telling you your music should be free, for example, you'd be like, no, because I would like to live in another. It's not that you're saying it should be free, but like then and someone say, okay, I will give you X, and with that amount of money, you can basically have food and have a roof over your head. Why should you stop? You know, it's difficult to tell someone that you are greedy just because, I don't know, you want to go from a 10-meter square bedroom to a 12-meter square bedroom. Square meters, by the way. Square meters, meter square? Square meters.
Square meters.
My French Tourette is back in. So that's why for me, I always try to stay a bit in between of these debates, which is why, like, I think, again, the ecosystem we should build is how can I help Stefano and his collective to organize these events, right? That you talk about 300 people, right? That obviously people like, and give him the choice to make money with it or not. So for example, we can literally give you the choice to make tickets for free, but you could have this on Eventbrite, for example, right? So you could definitely create an event already right now on existing platforms for free. It's just that it's going to help you for the organization, for example, right? Like how many people are coming, right? If I want to have food, even if, like, I don't know, my mom is cooking, right? But you need to know if it's 10 people or 100, right? So just for the organization, that seems to make sense that a platform could be used somewhere. You could decide as a fan to not share your email address, for example, right? So that would mean that you know nothing. You just know how many people are coming. So the kind of like mini anarchy vibe that you would create on the event doesn't seem to be tempered because it's organized via a potentially profitable business model. Because, for example, if I let you organize this on the platform, right? So I let you, like the point is that the platform allows you to do this. Well, it's because in my mind, at some point, you will be tempted to make money. Now, is it bad?
It's not bad.
He said it. Boom.
I think there is a never spoken limit. I mean, we never, as a society, we never sit down and said, okay, what's the limit? You know, what's the limit between being
comfortable and too comfortable
and being greedy? You know, we never cut the line, and this is a big problem. You know, this is a big problem because for me, when I talk about greedy people, I'm not speaking about the guy that's I don't know, make success with the music and buy a Ferrari. They can even be not greedy. You know, greedy is when you knowingly are enslaving people, because this is what happens in some way, you know.
Fair. I would say this is challengeable also. I'll give you literally an example. You arrived, you had your Bluetooth headset, right? Why you don't have the cord?
Because it's easier.
Because you know Bluetooth like is tech, like you have a chip in it that requires basically like rare material that come from mines where very likely you have child labor. Right, I have an iPhone, right? So it's not about you versus me, right?
But you're touching the point there.
My point is that there is always a right. We are always all connected on something, right? Whether we want it or not.
Yeah.
And right now we have so much information that we know that very likely we touch something that impacts negatively someone else.
Definitely.
Is it because we're greedy?
No, he's because.
I mean, you are definitely super greedy. Me, I'm no. I'm
I mean,
I'm kidding.
but
you get my
I'm
point?
greedy myself for sure. You know,
I'm not saying.
You know, I'm not saying that I'm not greedy, because I mean, greed is something that all of us have. But in the moment we're to arrive at a certain level, and it's not just about money and economy. You know, it's also about power. You know, when you have a certain level of power, and with power I mean that you can manage life of other people. That's the power. You know, because this is what it happened at a certain level.
I have a great segue for that. I have one where we're going to align on. Ready for it? AI.
AI.
There you go. Because AI, for example, the whole concept is that suddenly some companies decide that there is a new concept of fair use, right? And so the labor of a lot of artists, literally all of them, is being used to train AI models. Yeah, sure. This one we're going to agree on. And they say it's fair use because it was digital, you understand? So it was on the internet.
Yeah.
So of course I can use it because humans used to do it. Let's disregard the fact that you're a machine, right? And out of that, so the input, I had it for free so that the output doesn't cost me that much, right? Because my model, of course, costs money, but like it cost me way less than having to pay these dirty humans, right? And this is basically solving a problem that doesn't exist, right? You're just saying humans didn't have enough music. I'm just like, no one said that. What people said though is that the cost to license human music, because now we need to say human, right, is higher than the cost to license AI music. So if I'm a platform and I'd offer music as the value that I give to my customers, when my customers are paying for that, the cost of production just dropped thanks to the fact I did this. In my opinion, that's the definition of greed.
Yeah.
Because you literally did it without asking for permission, disrespect everyone's right to property because you said it wasn't written in a legal book somewhere, knowing very well that if you had to ask to every artist one by one, 99% of them will tell you to F off, and you still did it, but for the only sake of making money. So you're not solving something. You're not helping people to get mind-expanding experience because they already have them.
I think there is a huge problem related to the word AI itself. When I was playing Metal Gear Solid 1 on PS1, my dad was coming to me and was saying, this AI is incredible, you know, these guards are acting like the real guards, you know. So now they changed the meaning of the term AI, and they're using for just a little bit, you know, just a little part of what is an AI, which is the deep learning. Now, AI means deep learning, which is another thing, you know. It is not AI itself. It's just a model of AI, but there are many models of AI.
Yeah. And we just lost 90% of the audience right now. No, I know, I'm an IT engineer, so I know, but like,
what I mean, looking at the case, this is the only, the primary aspect of this kind of AI is data collection. So
input,
data input. And who are the biggest companies that own all the data of the world?
Who's coming?
Are the same companies that probably are, you know, the most greedy companies of the world, you know. So we are presented the AI like something that's okay, so I can make music, I go there, yeah, I want a song like this. When I think about AI, I think about the moment that I can go on Ableton and say, okay, open one track, add this sound, add this other one, and I had not to touch a keyboard, you know. For me, that's the goal of AI. What they are
complementary.
What they are hyping on is just, you know, something to distract, you know. I think also on a big level investment, you know, and yeah, now all the hype is on this digital creation of contents that is nothing else that data collection, and basically those contents are the contents made by all the artists of the world that gave those data to make the contents. Yeah. So it will always be a middle ground between what everyone is doing, you know. Yeah. It is not properly creative. You think it's just AI gathering information and select them.
Yeah. So AI as an assistant makes sense. Generative AI that basically helps you to make a song just with a sentence. What do you think about this?
So that's the data collection part of it. So
let's imagine it's cleared. So you have you write 100 songs and you have an AI model, and this company arrives and tells you like, can we train our model with your data? We give you $100, right? $1 per song. Then from that moment on, every new song that will be created by this company, you have no ownership on it. And people would just start making songs. Do you think it's something that is a use case, first of all, that is relevant? Because people played a lot with it when it went out, because you're just like, oh, wow, shit. I can like type like, it's a rainy day outside and we have 2 cameras and I'm having a good time with people. Suddenly you have a song that sounds like if it was made by humans and it's really good. Is it, you think, the future of music consumption?
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely
Why? Not. Because I think that this is just possible on a mainstream level. And when I speak about mainstream, I speak about mainstream for one and only reason. If you take a sample of 1 million people, it's impossible that those 1 million people are equally interested in the music world, you know. It's like there will be someone that will be more interested in the music world, and there will be someone that will just don't care and just listen music that is proposed by playlists, radio, you know, and stuff. In the moment that there are few people that control that playlist and that music and how it has to come out. I think there is a lot of manipulation. So you cannot create avant-garde in a manipulated world. You're not gonna create the new thing if everything is put to the attention of people. It's something that already has listeners, and probably someone sit down and said, okay, this has to get listeners. It's not something that got listeners because it's cool. It barely happened.
So here you talk about the gatekeeping that is happening right now, like in the music industry.
Yeah.
But let's imagine again that the music industry, you have negotiations at the moment between Universal and Google, for example, right? Let's imagine that this is cleared, right? Some of the rights holders say you can train your music. Do you really think it's something where people would actually enjoy en masse, right? My opinion, just to preface it, is that it's very impressive, and because it's just data, right? Like making music is data, even if it's a creative art and so on, right? But a machine will still be able to calculate way more combination than a human. Thus, it's very likely that AI will be able to create masterpieces, right? Masterpieces. The issue, though, is that I think that we don't listen to music only for the fact that it's a good song. I think that we listen to it because we like that it's a good song. We like that someone that is like us made it. And we like the fact that this is someone that we could have experiences with in the physical world, right? Even if some people, for example, now, arguably even with avatars, like literally you have ABBA that generated 300 million pounds in London with their show, right? So you would say, but this is digital. Why you don't just listen to them? And you're just like, oh yeah, wait, but because a former ABBA member, Bjorn, like directed the whole stuff. And so there is still like a touch of someone that used to be that young guy that you see on stage that actually created that experience. Thus, you're really at the intersection of physical and digital experience. So you still go there. Now, would it be something that people would do again en masse, right? You arrive, basically you don't listen to songs anymore. You wake up in the morning, say, Alexa, create a playlist for my mood today. And you have the Apple Watch that checked how you slept that night. And you had Alexa that heard that you argued with your girlfriend yesterday. And so today is going to be like, everybody, right? And it's like a pumpy song, right?
I think this is a huge ethical problems.
Forget about the ethical. Imagine just that all this is cleared. For me, I don't see how I could enjoy that, but maybe...
I see that and I see that possible, and I think this is something terrible that is happening to us.
But why? What interests me is the why because again, I agree. That me, for example, that would be so weird to me that like a company, because that would be a company, knows so much about me that they can know exactly the song that would make me feel good that day. That being said, you have use cases for this for medical reasons, for example, that are amazing. I was an accelerator last week, someone working on dementia, right? Really impressive. But now imagine for just casual consumption, that's not something that will work with me. You say it would not work, but it's the why. Why do you believe that will not work?
No, I think it's gonna work perfectly. I think probably if we follow this trend in 20 years' time, it's gonna be.
So you think people would literally wake up and music will be done for them?
Why? Because there is a really good documentary called Bias that explains really well how data collection, data analysis combined with AI, and how algorithm from Google, Facebook, can really give you what you want, and this is about dopamine, that's the thing, because
physiologically you can anticipate what someone needs.
You look for something many times. After the algorithm starts to learn what you're looking at and what other people that are looking your same things want, is gonna start to give you only what you really want. So you arrive at a certain level where you don't want anymore to know what other people are doing, and you don't want more input from other people, because you already have the perfect input for yourself that creates dopamine for you and gives exactly what you want. So we'll arrive at the moment where people are not gonna care that someone is trying to express something and tell something. They just sit and say to the eye what they want to listen in that moment, you know. And this is terrible because this totally, you know, destroy the society itself, you know, as a thing.
This is very interesting because I read recently about this experiment that was done in the 80s, right? About this guy that basically created a perfect closed society for mice, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you read about that.
No,
So
yeah.
he put like 100 mice, right, in this like closed whatever room of like 100 square meters, right? Like, and they had everything. They had everything for them. The temperature was perfect. You had 50% male, 50% female. You had enough food, constant access to food. So they had everything they needed, right? There was no scarcity of any kind. The only thing that you could not leave, but like a society, right? Imagine you live on an island. For the first 2-3 months, I think, don't quote me on that, but the society grew, right? Mice having sex, reproducing, and living in opulence. And he thought the society could host 5,000 mice, right? He went from 100 mice to 700, and then that was the peak. It started collapsing, a bit like the movie WALL-E, right? When people do nothing. It started collapsing because they all started individually to lose interest in one another. And so you basically could observe the destruction of what we call social fabric. So I agree with you. So on the fact that if we can physiologically give humans everything they want, why would they even think about mating, socializing, and so on? I just think there's a little difference, is that humankind is really, really, really big on social interactions, has been at least up until now. And I think that it's our duty, for example, as people evolving here, and for example, me as a business owner, you as organizing events, to maintain that social fabric, because that's what makes us actually really happy, and that we don't manipulate dopamine. It's actually produced by normal human interactions, which is why we should build with that in mind. Otherwise, I agree with you, we would get there, I would wake up, I would hear the music that would make me feel the best in the world, but then I would have absolutely no interest of randomly knowing what my neighbor would tell me this morning, because why would I care? Like, I already have everything I want. But we already know that this, I mean, based on mice experiments, would potentially lead to the collapse of society. Now, there's another debate. Does society needs to keep on existing? But we don't have time for today, right? But because we go anarchy, like nihilism and stuff. But the whole point is, I think it would work at the beginning with some people, but I think we would be, a huge fringe of society would be way more vocal about the fact to say, you're just a zombie, right? The concept of sentience, again, animals can have it and stuff. Mice still don't have our brain capacity, for example, right? So would this work with us?
But
I'm not sure.
I think that is really important, as you were saying, that we spread this and that we take action to give it to the future generation. Because the problem is we think as people born in the 90s, you know, in a bridge between these two worlds. But people that born now, for example, they born in that, you know, they born in that kind of comfortable, you know, environment where everything is easy. Because this is the thing, in the society there are a big part of people that live an easy life. Okay, if this easy life is strictly connected in staying in front of a screen, you know, scrolling and creating dopamine in your brain, I feel to be a victim of this. You know, I'm not out of the scrolling thing.
But the point is, like, to go back to the capitalism incentive, right? This makes sense because a company, to make more money, needs to reduce production costs, right? So far, so good. is going according to plan. This is why, in my opinion, we need to find business models that actually, yes, of course, you need to think about production costs all the time, right? But if I enable you to reach your people and to create the experiences the way you want, then it means that my game is not to create a new siloed application where people will live in an ecosystem that is purely guided by a financial incentive, right? So enabling new business models that enable different business models to grow under that ecosystem, I think is the way to go, because that will mean that if you want to keep on organizing your waves for free for the next 10 years, do it. But right now, the only way to have a free business model is to be ad supported. And if you're ad supported, then you impact discovery, then you start influencing people.
Yeah.
So that's why, for me, the best is to create platforms where people can actually interact in the way they see fit. Like this, even if you are hooked to your TikTok for you feed, right? And you don't even know that there's something happening nearby. If it would be on the same platform that you will know that other people actually go at Stefano's rave, right? Or actually can do something other than just scrolling and have another type of activity, then you let humans decide for themselves. Like, because it means that the underlying business model doesn't make money just because of you watching ads, which then mean that I need to be sure that you stay hooked in this app forever.
Yeah.
So my incentive has to differ from that.
Definitely. I totally agree with that, and I think that's totally possible. Not easy, but it's definitely possible. And I think that also just trying to create. I think there are some realities that, on one way, work well, like Reddit. Reddit for me is, an amazing form, of gathering information, because there is no algorithm. You just search for what you want to find. You don't have inputs, that tells you what you want to read. It's just, there is a certain...
Just signed the
less
deal
than
with
that.
Google that really totally changed the Google search, for example, engine.
Yeah, the Google search engine is a big debate.
That's for the next podcast.
That's the real form of AI that we really know well.
I don't even know what it is.
How many times you go on Google and you find stuff that you were thinking like 5 minutes before, and you say, "Oh, this is magic,"
Yeah,
it's
all
not
they listen
magic.
to
They
me,
know
yeah.
you well.
I'm gonna try to wrap this up. I asked this question to everyone. If right now you would have the ability, you have a magic wand, to create a tool or a service that would help you in your quest, your endeavor, right? What would it be? And what would be the effect on how you live your life?
Yeah, that's a deep question. Can I answer tomorrow?
You have 10 seconds. No, it's like, again, imagine just about like rave organization, for example, right? You say like you have to give leaflets and so on. Like, is there a way that would help you to do this better? For example, now you say you have, I give you, that's an example. Another example would be, now you have your day job and you're doing this on the side. If you would have the ability with a new kind of service to actually do, I don't know, rave organization full time, would you do this?
No, I don't think so. I'm very passionate about my job. I really like that. So I don't think I would be doing rave full time. But a nice tool would be something to organize rave together, probably a portal or...
So Eventbrite at the minute doesn't cut it for you?
No, even right. Where is the organizing together? I just put a ticket there and I sell the ticket. I mean, organizing together a place where everyone can put the idea to make things and find other people that can realize that, and so building.
So like a Reddit
together.
thread.
More like, there are, I don't remember the name, but there are some websites where you can find investors for your project, for example. So you put a project.
Crowdfunding.
like crowdfunding, but with ideas, just with ideas.
Yeah.
So where we can put ideas together and realize things together.
Yeah. It's what's the name of this? Indigo, or like there is a this
yeah, something like that.
crowdfunding campaign when you just have the idea, and if enough people pledge money to it, you just realize
No, it's not about money. I'm speaking about ideas. So let's say I want to do an event where they play rock music. Another person come, I have a nice projection mapping that would work well with rock music. And so we gather together to organize the event together with the spreading idea of everyone.
Interesting. So one of the things that we're thinking about doing is to actually enable fans to actually vote for things, right? We cannot do everything, right? Because otherwise it's going to get political in a second and so on. But like the whole point would be like, would you like to see artist A and B at a show together? And if you basically, so you don't pledge money, but if basically you have like 1,000 people that do this, we're just like, okay, we can assess that at least 50 people will come to see, right? So we basically let artists know to be like, what is the mashup you would like to see? Maybe on a song, or maybe as an event. And so people would basically show interest for a specific song or experience, and we would let know the people that could make this happen of that interest. Thus, if they want, they can act upon it or not.
Yeah.
Does that answer partially what you're thinking about?
Yeah, partially.
I'm not talking about the guy doing the stage, the light, and so on, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think my point had another goal though. Because this way people are expressing their expectation about something. I think that the way something, as I mean, works. So if me and you as an artist have two ideas and we can gather together that ideas to do that thing, this will
be specific, just like like a concert, for example.
Yeah, let's say
so
that
you and I
do a thread. Okay, so I want to organize a concert. Okay.
Yeah. So Ben and Stefano and Ben.
Yeah, exactly. We open this thread where we organize a concert.
And people cannot vote.
Then we have like there is Marco, another guy that says.
Why is he Italian? Huh? See, for example, what about Coco?
Josh.
There you go. There you go. He's American.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there is Josh that just says.
Why a man, by the way? Why not a woman? No, I'm kidding. I'm just looking at both. Okay.
And so say, I have this idea. I can participate to the festival with this idea. So at the end of the day, we gather on our thread 100 people that want to join our.
So that's a forum conversation. So it could be a Reddit thread. You and I will start a thread. We say we're thinking about doing a show together.
Yeah.
Then Josh is like, I could be there too.
Yeah.
Right. And then after we basically make people vote for it.
No, without voting anything. This is just to take ideas together.
So and just at the ideation level.
Yeah.
But this could be just like a group chat on WhatsApp. So this you can already do it.
No, because on WhatsApp it's difficult to get a number from a stranger. You still have to go in the street, find a stranger, etc. Doing leaflets. And participate.
So at the ideation level, you would. Again, let's imagine, like, we have a platform. So let's imagine, what would it look like? Like, so again, we are on Lissen, you and I, right? Stefano and Ben.
They call it incubation hubs, I think.
But like, you have to make it simple, right? Because, for example, artists are not going to spend their time looking for and scrolling for ideas, right? So how would you concretely make it look like? Because, like, Josh, right? How did Josh hear about the fact that we wanted to do something?
This is the thing that is difficult, and I don't know actually aesthetically.
When you're in my chair and you have to actually make it happen for real.
No,
and implement it.
On this side, the important thing on this side is creating the portal for sure with a certain aesthetic. I don't know now.
No, but let's put this aside. Two people that know each other or not, for example. I could send you, instead of a friend request, it could be like an ID request, right? What about you do a show together, right?
Yeah.
Of course, a lot of smaller artists will send that to bigger artists, but whatever, right? Let's imagine we take this complexity aside. I send you a collaboration invite, right?
Yeah.
You tell me, yeah, that kind of makes sense. So here, the first thing is that you want other people to collaborate on that. So first of all, it means that they need to find the original idea, right?
Yeah.
So here, there's already a little problem, right? Because it's literally like a leaderboard of ideas, right? And people would arrive. But apart from like a concert, someone else could be in that concert. Otherwise, it starts becoming way too diluted, right? Like, oh, I could do the lights, or I could do the videography, and just like, okay, but that's like a whole different service. That's why the idea we had in our head was something way simpler, because all the rest, the ideation can have several degrees, right? All the rest of like how we're gonna organize it. Do we have a third person coming, right? Or are we going to play rock or blues? It's something that can come after. For me, the very beginning of an idea is the will to do it. That's where I think that we can bring value. The rest, we enable you to send a DM, right? And you're gonna be able to start talking, right? So that's why for me, the inception of the idea is the most important. Ironing it out seems like something that a platform would become way too complex to do it. And I don't see what model would work under that. That's the only thing I would do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. Like it would be awesome that we do this and Josh, Marco, whatever.
Yeah.
Josh and Marco just jump in and be like, oh, we could do it. But I just don't know how they would hear about us at first. So that's why.
Yeah, that's why, as I was imagining, the thing is like me and you have an idea, and then we create the initial statement of that idea, maybe with a filtering system, keywords and stuff. And then everyone that want to participate can add up to that idea,
Yeah, but they need to find it first.
That's the difficult part.
Yeah,
that's the very difficult part.
Yeah.
I say to you, we are really bad in marketing, so
okay, we're gonna work on it then. Okay, that's a good way to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for coming again today.
Thank you.
And from King's Cross to I don't want to say where we are. Do we say where we are? No. From King's Cross to B. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you. See you soon.
Bye.